Hi friends, 2022 is a challenging year for many people because last 2021 we had lot of transitions happening around and there was so much change in the life. Now 2022, if you take astrologically, four transits are going to happen, which is that of Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu and Ketu. Now all this transit would mean that there's going to be lot of changes in your life. So let us take the Jupiter transit and analyze for each Rashis how the transit is going to be. First is Mesha Rasi. For Mesha Rasi, Jupiter will be going into the 12th house. So this transit is going to be very challenging for you. Very difficult for you. Usually when the Jupiter enters the 12th house, it signifies unnecessary expenditure, and also you may be having lot of challenges in curbing unnecessary activities. Suddenly everything will come to a stop and a close and you may be forced to take a new beginning. Otherwise, it is a closing of many issues which has been hanging around you for a long period of time. So it will be a very challenging transit for you. The next transit will be very easy, but at the moment for Mesha Rasi, it's going to be a very challenging transit. For Rishabha Rasi, the Jupiter will be going into the 11th house. And it will be a wonderful transit where you will attract lot of money, new people and lot of new links will come inside. When Jupiter goes into 11th house, automatically it will open up lot of avenues for you to make money. And also you will have lot of financial ideas like investment ideas and also the idea to make more money out of lot of processes. So this will completely open up and you will have lot of good things coming into your life in this Jupiter transit. It will also aspect your 5th house, which means child related issues. The luck enhancing factor will happen for you in this Jupiter transit. For the Mithuna Rasi, it will be a 10th house transit. Once again, it will be a good transit but filled with lots of changes. Whenever Guru goes into the 10th house, it means your way of doing work, the way of doing things, the way you finish any activity will change. When you are not going to accept the change, it will be really challenging and you will be forced to change. For some people there will be place change, vehicle change and also there will be an enormous amount of connection with the mother side. So for Mithuna Rasi, the transit is going to be very positive and you may also think of changing the job. Jupiter into the 10th house, certainly by the time Jupiter closes this transit, you will surely change the job. For Kadaga Lagna, this transit is going to be the 9th house transit, wonderful transit. So you will travel to foreign countries, travel to new destinations will be there. It will be connected with your spiritual growth and it can be connected to the places which you wanted to visit for a long period of time. And it will be a very good transit when it comes to the relationship with the family members. You will connect more with your father's side and also connect with the younger people and there will be lot of positive energy and positive vibes in the relationship. So absolutely it's going to be a wonderful and a very powerful transit because now 9th house Jupiter transit usually signifies that something new is going to open up. Something which you want to learn, which the soul wants to learn and what is supposed to unravel in your life. That life lesson will open up with the Jupiter entering into the 9th house. Now let's go into the Simha Rashi. For Simha Rashi, the Jupiter transit is going to be negative and challenging. Be careful of the health issue. Any small health issues will just flare up. So you please do Dhanvantari Puja or Aishomam so that your health issues never flare up. And for some people, there will be the death of closed ones, and you may be visiting to hospitals of the relatives, like somebody has fallen sick. So it will be more connected with the health issue, falling sick, going to the death event, and going to the hospitals. One small tip I always tell people: when there is a negative transit, kindly take some loan and keep it. Or if suppose there's one big problem, don't try to solve that problem in the negative transit, because the negativity will go on with that problem itself. If you try to solve any problems, any big problems which is of not immediate in nature, the next problem will arise in the negative transit. That is always the key I try to tell people. If suppose there is one equipment which is not working, let it be there. When that equipment is not working, it will be one problem which will be always there. So this is how the Simha Rasi has to handle this entire transit. Now let's go to the Kanya Rashi. For Kanya Rashi, it's a 7th house transit and seeing the 1st house, which is called as the aspecting the 1st house. When the 7th house transit happens, marriage events will take place, and if you are a little bit old, you will start going to lot of marriage events. Suddenly you will be hearing, here is marriage, there is marriage, so I have to go to this relative's marriage. All those marriage events, positive events will trigger, and it can also mean that you will be traveling to new places, because 7th house also triggers the marriage. One important thing in this is that when this positive event is opening up, get into positive changes which you wanted to do in your life. It will be very easy. For instance, if you had planning to shift the house, or if you are planning to restructure the house, then it could be the time, because when the event is triggering, it will be easy for you to trigger the change and push the change along with the event, because event will open up a huge amount of energy, and when you push it, it will go inside very fast. And for Kanya Rasi, for some people, the complete attire will change. The way they dress, the presentation, how others perceive of them will change. And certainly you will attract new people in your life. So those people will see you from a different perspective. So what people think of you will change in this Jupiter transit. Now let's move into the Tula Rasi. For Tula Rasi or the Libra Rasi, it's going to be a very difficult transit. 6th house transit aspecting the 12th house. So lot of negative events can happen. And additionally, this point is the time when many people think, let me expand myself in the business, or something that let me start a business, because whatever money I get is not sufficient. I would say, please don't do anything new in this transit. Whatever you do or start in this transit will be very short term, and you are likely to succeed. And I have seen many people only during the negative time think about expansion. This I have seen for almost 70% of my clients. In the negative transit, they'll come and ask me, can I start? I would say in this transit, to hold on what you are doing itself will be challenging. Kindly hold on and get into the daily rhythm and grind. That itself will be sufficient. Yes, you may have to take loans. Take the loan and keep it. Don't close it till the transit is over. In that way, you can curb the negativity of this transit. Don't get into arguments. Whatever you argue, it can flare up into big problems. And also there will be unnecessary travel and unnecessary expenses. So when this transit is going to be like this, don't keep raw cash. When the raw cash is there, it will attract all unnecessary expenses. So for Tula, Libra, Rasi, it's not going to be a very fabulous transit, challenging transit, and a year ahead. For Vrichika Rashi, it's a 5th house Guru transit, wonderful transit, and many people will conceive, the baby will come, and lot of joyous occasion will open up. And at this in this transit, whatever you think, it will be easy to implement. And because the thoughts will have a gap with implementation and closing of the events, or after the Karya Siddhi of the implementation will be very, very easy. The luck will favor you, the people will help you, and also money will come at the right moment to do all the things. For some people, money may not come. There will be a lot of difficulty, lot of struggle, but in this transit for you, whatever you are aiming and the terms of money will come inside. One caution, at this point of time, you might like to pick up here and there small fights. You have to be very, very careful. Be silent and start doing the work. Slowly the Jupiter transit will push you ahead. But please understand, there will be lot of churning and changes within you which will be happening in this transit. Accept it and take it. People will certainly change. Suddenly, as you are growing, positive impetus is coming inside your life. No longer you will connect with your old friends, old people. Place will change. So accept it and go inside. Then this transit is going to be very fabulous for you. Now let's go into the Dhanush Rasi. For Dhanush Rasi, it's going to be a 4th house transit aspecting the 10th house. So certainly there will be a place change. Minimum would be the house modification or house change. Accept it, which means your life is going to change and your work will change. Upgradation will be there. New education, new skills enhancement will happen in this transit. Some people might buy a house or a land or a vehicle. So in general, it will be a very, very good transit. And in this transit, most of the Dhanush Rasi people will be very close with their mother and they would like to do something for their mother. So this would be the transit for you. Fully encash it, because when your mom is very happy, your life is going to become better. And career also will go to the next level. Very big improvement will happen in the career. For Makara Rasi, it's a 3rd house transit aspecting the 9th house. Yes, it will be very, very challenging because there will be lot of travels. Connecting with the new people will happen. So if you are very spiritually oriented, this would be the good correct Jupiter transit to open up your spiritual life, connect with the Guru or take up a mantra for chanting. Absolutely fabulous. You can easily maneuver your spiritual life in this transit. Some people will do the Kshetra traveling, like pilgrimages, going to temples and all those things. And many people will certainly change the cell phone. This I have always seen. And whenever there's a Jupiter 3rd house transit, I tell people, just change the cell phone. That will be the trigger point for the start of new things. But sometimes there will be unnecessary travels and expenses. Be careful. Light lamps for Mahalakshmi. Do Guru Puja. That's how you can manage this transit. For Kumbha Rashi, this transit will be the 2nd house transit, and there will be a change of the way you speak, way you eat, and way you connect with your family members. Yes, the speech will change. Everybody will suddenly notice how you are presenting yourself, how you are taking up yourself very seriously in the speech. And in this transit, you will use your speech to grow, to convince people, to enhance your capacities and abilities. And food will change. Usually Guru going into the 2nd house, food will shift to 360 degree. What you were been previous will move into the next level. So lot of churning in the food will happen. Suddenly you feel like making yourself better, becoming more health conscious will happen in this Jupiter transit. So it's in a way a very good transit. Small health issues, be careful, it can flare up. For Meena Rashi, it's going to be the 1st house transit aspecting the 7th house. So it's going to be a complete makeover, change of yourself. Suddenly your face will change, your attire will change, personality will change. Most of the people will move into changing their hairstyle. This I have seen personally myself. Like my hairstyle completely changed when Jupiter transited my Lagna Lord and the Ascendant. So complete change of the hairstyle will happen, and some people suddenly change the way they dress. Like they will become more traditional or they will become more flamboyant. The 360-degree change happens only in the Jupiter transit, and you will some people will attract the spouse in their life, the supporter or the life partner in the life. That will open up. So if you are waiting for a girlfriend or a marriage aspects and all those stuff like that, it's the right time to open up yourself. So the marriage activity will completely open up. So for Meena Rasi, it's going to be a good transit, but please remember, all Jupiter transit would mean there would be a change. How you are will completely change in this Jupiter transit, and when you're not going to allow yourself to change, that's where all the transits will become negative. Transit is equal to change. Even a small change, if you do, it can trigger a goodness in your life. And this transit will also make you really check what are your important soul points, what are your important life points. All Jupiter transits do that. So kindly allow yourself to change, because that's how no two people's life is same, no 2 years are same. It's because of the transit. So kindly accept the change. You can see a lot of goodness happening in your life. And whatever I have given you is a generalized prediction, but if you want a very specific prediction, kindly connect with me in my WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number is there in the description box. Kindly connect with me in my WhatsApp and I'll be glad to help you.